What is going on, everybody? It is your man, Pat Bernard, just checking in with you guys. I'm just doing a fill in for right now until Austin and Gus pop onto the program. Um, I missed all the Union action from last night, but these little tournaments that they're having inside the season really doesn't do anything for me. It is the what's going on in the regular season that does. And what's going on in the regular season is your Philadelphia Union on a 3-game losing streak. Losing streak is your Philadelphia Union. And I'm going to go back what happened Saturday. Just not playing well. I get it. Cincinnati showing you why they're one of the better defensive teams in the league. However, you're supposed to have an answer for that. You're supposed to be game ready, and you're not. You're not game ready. You're not ready to go. And the Union are struggling offensively. I don't know if they're lazy. I don't know what's going on offensively with this team on a regular basis. Like I said, I know people get excited for these little tournaments that are going inside, and for the man to explain more about that, he's backstage. He's ready to pop up here like Shakespeare. Here's my man, A-Town Brown, Austin. What up, buddy?
Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Oh, geez.
Yes. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Philadelphia Union as far as regular season play because they are struggling bad. They are.
Can you hear me now?
Offensively, they look toast. I'm not gonna lie, they look like they can use a player. And like I mentioned to Austin, like I mentioned to Diego, I don't know if it's Corey Burke is really keep peace off the bench. I know he's just a bench player, but is he apparently a big help to this team? And of course, we got comments coming through. So Joe says he hears Austin.
Oh,
but
cool.
I can't
It was
hear.
probably because my computer was lagging a little bit. I'm gonna step out for a quick second for those of you that can hear me.
Come back
Give me
in,
1
Austin.
second.
I don't know. That's weird. Joe says he can hear him, but I can't. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my setting. But I do know this. Thanks, Joe Dog. That's the John checking into the show. Always there for me. I do know this, that the Philadelphia Union not looking like champions, not only the team of last year, not only a juggernaut in the MLS. Say what you will, you can make up all the excuses, whether it's home, whether it's away. This team is finding ways to lose. I broke it down. Cincinnati has one of the best goaltenders in the league. They have a pick-apart defense where they can read what you're throwing at them offensively. They can see all that. And like I said,
okay.
I don't
can
know
you hear me now?
Oh man, great question here. Who's looking worse, the Phillies or the Union? Good call, Joe. Good call. Phillies blow. Yeah, Joe, they do. Listen, who would have thought, right? Two teams had a lot of aspirations on them. Two teams who we thought would return as look like championship form, and no, they're not. They're not championship form. So they're not ready to contend, and this is sloppy play from both teams. The Phillies are having their struggles on the diamond, batting, pitching, all that stuff. And the Union are just sloppy all over on both sides of the ball. Defensively, offensively, can't get creative with the ball. Nothing's working. You tell me. For the Union fans out there, you tell me what's the antidote? What can they do to make it better? So, all right, let's see.
All right, let's try this again. Hello.
Hello. Let me try to buzz out. Maybe it's me.
Okay, we'll figure this out. But in the meantime, since you folks here can hear me, I'll give you my quick breakdown of how I felt the match against FC Cincinnati went over the weekend. It just seemed like the Union came out flat. It just seems to be this weird theme of coming out trying to punch a team in the mouth in the first half and not succeeding, and then giving up on everything that you've sort of established to try and push forward. And for some reason, it just has not been working. And there's going to be a lot of, I guess you could say, a lot of work that still needs to go into the regular season play. You definitely saw a lot more heart last night from the team against Atlas comparatively, but for some reason, the match on Saturday was just not a great piece of play at all from Philadelphia. There were a couple solid opportunities in the match, but nothing that could have, been able to counterbalance the lack of continuity that we've been having in getting ourselves forward and getting to those final touches. It was just, overall, again, another match where Glesnes technically was your best player again, and it was not really the way you wanted it to go at all. And it just has been a consistent up and down over the past few weeks with Philadelphia. I understand, you want to try and also have focus on your Champions League play, the tournament play. And this early in the season to be falling down the standings has not been excellent, I guess you could say. It definitely is very indicative of how this team, I guess you could say, they're really technically having a cup final hangover, to be 100% honest. It's not really what you were expecting Philadelphia to do. But, you just got to take it one match at a time. Hopefully, some breaks start coming, and it should only be a matter of time before a lot of stuff starts breaking your way and you start being able to score at the pace that you normally do, being the team that you are. You saw very consistent play out of Andre Blake. The back line has not been as solid. Missing Kai Wagner in these games has been a bit of an indication as to how the defense sort of has to recover, I guess you could say. And it just hasn't been what you want from Philadelphia in terms of regular season play. The runs are there. It's just the finish, it has not been consistent, and it's been really rough. Like I said, you got very solid play from Blake. He did exactly what he had to do. Any shots that he faced, he was able to turn away. He was able to really command the back line, but again,
got you now.
Points on the table. We got it all figured out. Awesome. Okay.
All bugs are out.
But yeah, so what I was saying, Pat, was the FC Cincinnati match was just indicative of how regular season play has been going for Philadelphia recently. You get solid opportunities, you don't get the finish, and it just leads to a lot of, I don't want to say worry, because I feel like it's too early in the season to worry. But I don't know. I mean, it's really tough to look at this team and see how well they've played in the CONCACAF Champions League, which we'll touch on the match on Wednesday in a little bit. But to see how they played on Wednesday compared to how they played on Saturday, it's night and day. And
yes,
you need to see that kind of play in your regular season form as well. And you really didn't get that in the match on Saturday night. You did not get it at all. You got solid play from the main players that you needed to be able to secure points. You got decent play from the back line, sans Kai Wagner, and you got decent play from Andre Blake. The going forward on the attack was decent, but you didn't get the finish, and not being able to get the finish is what's leaving points on the table early in the season, and you cannot be doing that. And especially having to take that time, making that quick swing from Cincinnati down to Guadalajara, you want to be able to walk away with, you would hope to walk away with more than 1 point. And Curtin said it against on the match on the first against Kansas City, and I can assure you said it again after the match again on Saturday, that you can take the positive away of it being, you get a point, but the bigger thing that's going to weigh is going to be, the fact that you left 2 points on the table, and you don't want to be doing that, especially going into, tournament play in the CONCACAF Champions League again, and then having to make the swing back from Guadalajara, of which another game that we'll touch on later on, coming into Saturday, going into Chicago to play the Fire. It's just, it has not been a great start to the season, and I feel like we're getting the same thing that we saw last year, where it's hard to find that finish. And the second that they find that finish, they're going to be able to finish every single time. It's just now it's not a matter of if they will. What's up, memer boy and streamer man? I love that name. I love that. But yeah, like, it's you want that to happen sooner. You want the finish to happen sooner, because you know that once they start scoring, they're not going to stop. So you want to be able to get that going soon, but at the same time, the sooner you get it going, it leaves more question of when will the well run dry? And having to outweigh the two, you know what I mean, is kind of the issue where I'm at personally as a Union fan. Is like, I want the team to start scoring at will, like they did the tail end of last year. Like, everyone loved it. It was just more proof apparent of how good Philadelphia Union can be as a team. And not getting it right now is just, again, I can't use the words worrisome or troubling. Like, it's definitely a concern right now, and you want to be able to right that ship as soon as you can, just simply because of the fact that you need to start getting points and start climbing these standings, because you're going to hit a point where it's very possible that you're too far back to shoot for number one. And I mean, as much as, I've talked so much trash on FC Cincinnati over the past 3 seasons that we've been doing this show, this being the third, they've made incredible turnaround in the offseason to be able to get this team to be where they are right now. And it's one of those things that you just love to be able to see it, because of the fact that, they were such I guess you could say, a historically bad team, finishing bottom of the league 3 straight years, and then slowly starting to claw up last year, and then finally getting this good surge to start the season now. But at the same time, on the other end of that coin, that match said a lot about Cincinnati and didn't say a lot about Philadelphia, because we know the team that Philadelphia can be. Cincinnati still has a lot to prove. So it spoke more volumes for what Cincinnati has been doing so far to establish themselves as a team that is a potential threat to Philadelphia for the Eastern Conference, championship. But at the same time, it definitely didn't help, I guess you could say, the soccer pundits to think that Philadelphia Union are still the team that they are, because not getting these results is just not great.
No, Austin, you bring up all good factors, and I want to go back to what again, go back to the Cincinnati game, going back to the struggles. Like, we looked at what their stats and what they are, and look, you are what your record says you are. They have a goaltender who leads the league in clean sheets. They lead on picking apart offenses and making turnovers, all the stuff. This is what they do. They're a good team. My issue is, like you said, you're currently 10th in the conference. You're not a playoff team. You only have 2 wins on your belt. You haven't had a win since beginning of March. The issue is, now you've been on a losing slide. What do you do to turn this bad boy around? And you can't use the form playing against bad. We wait till we play against bad teams because bad teams are starting to turn around. And like I've said from the get go of the season, I think that the Philadelphia Union are a target for most all these teams. And now, and I don't know if guys are getting older. I don't know if that plays an X factor. I don't know if guys are just not being creative. I don't know what Jim Kern writes up in his system works for these guys. You know, and to me, I don't know if he has much depth on the bench. That's coming along here. And like you said, though, in these little conference games, maybe the level of competition isn't as high as on a Saturday matchup. People are coming to play, and maybe fatigue is starting to play for the Union during the week for some of these games because they're tired. They just it's a quick turnaround. You're playing on Saturday, got to play on Wednesday, got to go back on Saturday. Now you got to hit the road. So you're up and down. Home road, home road. Here goes William Yeager checking in. He goes, we do play more games than the most teams.
Which is very true because we are technically participating in 3 different tournaments this year along with our regular season play. So we are going to be playing a lot more matches. So I can understand sort of, throttling
Let me
back.
be right back.
Go ahead, man. I can understand throttling back on a bit of the intensity that you have in terms of being able to, uh, really push, the philosophy that you have of being a staunch defensive team, a very strong offensive team as well. A lot of that really, a lot of it really lives and dies through the midfield. Um, the midfield play has been very consistent. And actually, very good question here from Will. I'll continue my point in a second. Uh, this is actually kind of what I was starting to allude to a little bit. What's more important, the MLS season or the tournaments? Honestly, but I feel like both are equally important. And hear me out on exactly why. The regular season is going to be indicative of how the rest of the league sees you. The tournaments are going to be indicative of how this half of the globe sees you. Um, I mean, granted, the teams that we've been playing in the CONCACAF Champions League have not been the best possible competition that we could be facing. Although, with the result that we got last night, moving on in the Champions League, we actually face a familiar foe in LAFC. Um, so, it's not only understanding where you stack against the league, it's understanding where you stack against other competition throughout our half of the globe. And sometimes you have to understand what the balance needs to be. And I feel like that's part of what we're experiencing right now with Philadelphia Union is that we're having a lot more issue with understanding that fine balance between the league play and the cup play. If you look overseas to teams like Manchester United, who had a commanding 2-0 lead today against Sevilla, and in the last 25 minutes of play managed to somehow effectively shoot themselves in both feet by surrendering 2 own goals to only pull a draw in Euro play. So I mean, excuse me. There's a lot that is in the play of Philadelphia Union that that they can do better. But at the same time, they've been doing a lot of things the way they're supposed to. But the problem is a lot of the things that they're supposed to do aren't the things that are resulting in goals. I mean, they should be resulting in goals, is what I should say. You really should be seeing a lot higher expected goals per game than you're seeing right now. It's just a shade under 2 goals per game. In the last 2 months of the season last year, our expected goals per game was averaging around 3 to 4. So we know that this team can get going, and when they do, it is very hard to stop them. And having to deal with what we're dealing with now, you need to find that really fine balance between, how you need to be playing the regular season and how you need to be approaching the cup play aside from your season. So, it's the first time that we're having this heavy of a load in terms of that. And I feel like it's more a learning experience right now than anything. And as the season wanes on, we'll start to understand more of what this team can do and how they'll be able to approach it going forward.
Correct. Austin, did you get Will's comment here or no?
Yes, that was
Okay.
that was actually me finishing
Good.
out my statement on it. What do you think, Pat? What do you feel is more important between the two? Do you feel the MLS season or the Cup play
I
is more
said
important for Philadelphia?
to me it's the MLS season because that's where you fell short at last year. And I get it; these guys are like you said, are putting on clinics, on weekdays, but on the weekends, I don't know if they're thinking, what's for dinner or what's up. I mean, are they just enjoying the road trip because they are not enjoying trying to get W's? Apparently, I mean, uh, you look at right now. I mean, down Gazdag, I mean, he's still up there for goals. I mean, in assists, he's still averaging four a game for assists. I mean, he's still relatively good for you. But like I said, what's the deal with the rest of the team? It's not like I said, it's not where they were at last year. I heard you breaking it down, stat for stat from last year to this year, and you don't have those kind of guys no more. And you got to remember,
I mean, I feel like that's kind of the funny part that we're at here with this team is a lot of the pieces are the same. A
mhm.
vast majority of the pieces are the same. We lost two people. We lost Paxton Aronson. We lost Corey Burke. But for some reason, it seems like a lot of the issue that we're having isn't even with our super sub play because we've seen it. Joaquin Torres, Damian Lau,
Mhm.
Andres Pereira, like they're all playing well coming in when they have to. But it's for me, it's more establishing your play in the first half. You're not getting as good play in the first half as you would like to see Philadelphia Union have that we know that they are capable of doing. And we're just missing we're missing that spark at the beginning of the game to be able to immediately plant the foot on the throat and then just coast the rest of the way with a 3-goal lead. We're scratching and clawing right now, which is very tough to see from a team that can play better than they have been playing. The play that they have shown currently this season is not indicative of the Jim Curtin system that we have seen work phenomenally well over years he's been here. He's been here since 2014 as the head coach. And we know what Jim Curtin brings to the table for this team in terms of his tactical capability, in terms of, the changing of the formation to complement the players that have, come on in a sub. And I'm just going to transition into it right now. You got Kai Wagner back for the match against Atlas FC, which was amazing. It was so good to see him back in play. But then as the match went on towards the end of the first half, he came up lame again with that nagging hamstring injury.
Hold on
Oh,
there, Mr. Alston. The entry is drawn number 30 into the Royal Rumble.
uh-oh.
That means here comes
It's the American nightmare.
it's the Peruvian powerhouse himself, Gustavo Seminario, and he's looking to eliminate me with a big old clothesline over the top.
and Gus, just like Mankind, is hanging out in the boiler room. I cannot hear you at all. There it is.
Let's go.
I'm doing good, man. How are you? Sorry, you're a bit of a delay behind your audio from your camera, so I thought I wasn't hearing you at all, and then I heard you after.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine. It's just there's a delay between when I hear your voice and when I see your lips move, or it's usually it's a bit back and forth between the two, but it's totally fine. As long as I can see that face and hear that voice, we're in a good position.
That's all right. We'll just treat it like an old Japanese martial arts movie, and then we'll be good.
Tiger style.
That's right.
But yeah, Gus, so we just started to get into the breakdown of the CONCACAF Champions League second leg in Guadalajara against Atlas FC. Tell me what you saw from that match. What were some of the key things for you during that game?
I saw a match that Atlas shouldn't have been in, to be honest with you. I saw a match where we were the better team. I saw a match that frustrated the hell out of me because we just, for some reason this year, and it's not just in the Champions League. It's almost every week. We can't find the goal. Like, yeah, we scored twice, 3 times, 3 times,
3 times.
twice, 3 times. Yeah, we scored 3 times.
Or no, we scored twice, walked away with a 3-2 aggregate win. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. So we scored twice this last game. I get it. They were easy goals, but how many did we miss? And how many did
Oh,
UA miss?
if every single one that we missed barely made it in, we would have won 5-2.
It was just clear shots at goal. It wasn't even. It wasn't even. Wish upon a star type of plays. It was. It
Yeah.
was a legit chance, and it's been happening all year. I don't know what it is. I wish. I wish I had an answer. Am I glad they won? Yes. Do I like the way they did it? Not really. I don't.
Yeah, me neither. Honestly, and the fact that getting that win cost you Wagner again and also Olivier Bizo is not great at all, because
No.
those two are fairly key in the defensive play. I mean, you still have Nate Harriel, which is good, but I feel like the move now is going to be playing Matt Real out there again in place of Kai Wagner again, and
Which is not something that we want to do. Like, it's not.
really
It's
not.
not something we want to do.
It's either him or Damian Lau at this point, and I don't know who they go with.
I would go loud, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Real's just lost
stay
out there.
just stay as big as possible as you can on that
Yeah,
back line.
Real's just out there. Like, he's just lost. Like,
Yeah, I
he
mean,
doesn't know what he's doing out there.
I feel like he played well enough in the Sporting Kansas City match, and I don't say that to be negative at all, because he's playing out of position from the gate,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
and
Like, he's taking
I feel like
over.
he did fairly well.
Well, he's taking over for Wagner, but he doesn't know that position. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's
Exactly.
lost over there. He
Yeah.
plays too far up. He gives the other team way too many chances on the side. That ultimately, and it was Kansas City, but so it could have been worse. But
Definitely.
against a good team, it's just not. It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's really not. And it's those injuries now put you in a really tough spot for how you're going to dictate your 11 for however long both of these guys are out. And it's not great. It's really not. It's going to be
Mm-mm.
really tough to try and find a way, especially with the fact that we're still clearly lacking on the finish, so we can't even use our offense to sort of take away pressure from the defense by facilitating.
Dude, I don't know what it is this year.
Especially because of the fact that we concede a lot of possession, and we can still win games not winning the possession.
I don't
and
know what
have
it is. What it is this year? There's something about this year that is just we're just not finding the goal. Like, I don't know what it is. It's not like we're playing horribly. We're
Yeah, we're
playing a
really
good
not.
game. We're creating chances here and there, especially with McGlynn on the field. We just
Yeah,
can't we can't finish. Like, it's crazy.
of which it honestly, going into the half, it should have been 2-2, because McGlynn had an incredible setup for Ua right
Oh,
before, and Ua just roofed it. And I literally, I was sitting here, my wife was getting ready for bed, and she just hears me out here in the living room just go, "Oh my God, he roofed it." She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "He had that clean, and he just booted it too high."
it's balls like that I'm glad that McGlynn's actually playing now. I mean, Kern realizes that he's an asset out there. You have to play the kid. You just have to.
Yeah.
Right now, your 10 is not doing. It's not creating for you. He's not scoring for you. You need something else out there. You have to play the kid. Now, if Gazdag was the Gazdag of last year, maybe we're talking a different game right now. Maybe we keep McGlynn for the second half, and go more a little on the defensive side, just because we would need it. Um, but we're not in a situation at all. Gostek's just not creating enough, and even the chances that he does have a goal, he's not finishing. So
Yeah.
right now, I think the best solution is keep the kid out there. He's the one that's creating for you. I'm not saying bench Gostek or anything like that. That's silly, but I definitely expected more from him, like way more from him. I understand the last year was, it was a really, really good year, so standards were pretty high. But he's not even playing a level below that. Like he's all the way down here, and I
Yeah,
need him to figure it out because it's not going to help. And then there's a reason why we're not atop of the league right now, right?
yeah,
That's a
and
huge reason why.
yeah, that lack of a finish is definitely the proof apparent that us being number one in the conference right now would not be great. Because if we're this bad on the finish and we would still be number one, it would say more about the rest of our conference than it would about us as a team.
Hmm.
And
But there's no way we can be.
yeah,
Not
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, exactly. Not with the performances that we've been putting up. You can't consider this team to be one of the best in the East right now with how they're playing.
Right.
And like you said, I mean, McGlynn did incredibly well in the matchup against Atlas FC. I felt like bringing in Leon Flock in the tail end of that match, just get a little extra defense when Atlas went down to 10 off of that
And,
double yellow,
and
helped.
I got to tell you, I've helped Flot a bunch of times. The last game, not the one against Atlas, the
Cincinnati.
one before, the one in Cincy. I was done defending Flock.
He
He's
did not.
just
He
he
did not
did
look great.
nothing for us. Nothing for us.
Mm-mm.
Nothing. He gave me nothing. Diego was saying last or 2 weeks ago or last week was last week. Diego was saying last week how Gazdag sucks, and I try to tell him like there's a reason he's out there. He has one job to get the balls, go 1-on-1, and win those tackles. He does that right. I mean, the goal that we had at the end that started with him, but I can't really defend him anymore because he's just not playing well.
Yeah, he's
And
really not.
yeah, I can't defend him anymore.
Yeah, and it's tough because he actually put in a solid performance in the back half of the Atlas match, and it just if he can carry that kind of play over to regular season play, I feel like a lot of the negativity that's being brought on to Leon Flock would come off because outside of regular season play, he's playing fairly well. And I feel like the same can be said for Daniel Gazdag. Like he's playing fairly well outside of regular season competition, but
I wouldn't
it's
say
not a
well.
he's playing better than he is in regular season play. His touches are a bit better. He's not creating still, but he's definitely seeing the field better on the tournament play than he is during regular season
Yeah,
play.
but that's not going to help us if he's not doing it well. Like, I don't think he's doing it well. That's my beef with him.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And it's just I don't know because Pat's actually asking a good question here. I'll pop this up really quick. He's asking, do you think teams come to shut down Gazdag knowing that there's no other offensive weapon for Curtin to use? Which
But there is offensive weapon though.
yeah, there are plenty of other offensive weapons. You have Carranza and Ua as well. You also have,
McGlynn,
you have McGlynn. I mean,
McGlynn himself.
as much as you would hate to admit it, you have Bedoya. Like
No, you don't. You don't.
you
No,
have
stop
guys that
it.
can put themselves in the box to have an
You
opportunity to
do
score
not
goals.
have Bedoya. They're not worried about Bedoya.
Bedoya is a great right place at the right time scorer.
Anybody's good in right place, right time.
I mean,
Kidding me?
yes.
Anybody can do that. I can score a goal if I'm in the right place, right time. That's not a skill. That's
Yeah,
luck.
but like it's just you have guys that have the capability to be able to put the ball in the net if they are around the net. And what I noticed a lot in the Cincinnati match was we were not getting enough bodies in the box to be able to create a second chance opportunity. So we were ripping shots off of Cincy's goalkeeper, and there were plenty of times where he wasn't securing the ball. And if
We
you
weren't
had a
playing
body
it.
there, you would have had a chance to get a second chance shot and possibly even score a goal.
We didn't play that game to win. We played it not to lose.
Yeah, which is
And we
unfortunate.
ended up losing anyway. So
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it was better than I expected. I expected more than 1-0. After seeing him the first 60 minutes, I was like, oh my god.
yeah,
Um,
I
but
I want to say it was about the 60th, 65th minute. I looked at my wife and I was like, we're going to walk away with 1 point and it's going to be so disappointing. And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, look at this. And I just literally just held my hands up to my, as you can see right here on the edge, I have a second TV. This is also my monitor that I use for my computer. So I have a 2 setup. I had the game running on this and I just went, look. And she just watched for 3 minutes and I was like, we can't create. There's no opportunity. There's no bodies to be able to help on secondary opportunity. And she's like, yeah. I was like, you thought the Flyers were bad at trying to score goals this season. This has been really rough.
Yeah, we're not looking so good. But I'm still hoping that we can figure it out. It's early, lots of games. If we keep winning in the Champions League, we're going to see more and more games.
Yep.
But we need to figure something out quick because this isn't going to play. I understand not having the same success that we had last year. I get that. It's
Yeah.
it's tough to recreate all that. Okay, it's but I didn't think we were gonna like dip this slow.
Yeah, I didn't think so
Because
either.
we're not playing well. Like I said, it's tough to recreate what we did last year, but not like this. Like this is
Yeah, and it's really rough to see this team, with the way that you've seen them play over the past couple of seasons to come out this flat against the team that you normally can actually handle pretty well in FC Cincinnati, and to just not be able to create, not be able to get the bodies that you need in the box to be able to create those opportunities. And especially on a lot of set pieces, there was not as much movement as you would normally see from Philadelphia on those set pieces. And I feel like part of that had to do with, not having Kai Wagner. He having him on that side to be able to really get good service in on set pieces outside of the box. You really missing that definitely is a big thing. And like I had said, you got him back for this match last night, which was a 10 a.m. kickoff, which already, I was struggling from that because by the time the match ended, it was close to midnight and I had work today. So I was like, all right, we have Wagner. We're going to be in a better position. We're starting McGlynn in the 11 instead of Flock. Like everything I was like, this team is going to actually be able to really perform really well. Halftime hits, second half starts, Harriel's in there for Wagner, and I went, great. Because at the end of that half, Wagner took a couple of times where he was grabbing at that hamstring again. He was definitely favoring that leg. And then midway through the second half, Bizo goes to do a big clearance with his back to the opposing net in our end, gets it off the side of his foot, takes a couple of steps, and then does the same thing, grabs at the left hamstring, and then eventually it's just like, I can't, I have to sit. And he sits down. They finally go to sub him off, which this was the best part. They go to sub him off, and guy from Atlas comes over and just talking to the ref and just talking. And the whole time they're showing they're showing Bizo come off, they're showing his sub come in. Dude standing right there with the ref the entire time, and then out of nowhere they do a cutaway to I think it was still or something, like one of the coaches' boxes, and then they do a quick shot back as the camera's swinging back over to this guy on Atlas is getting a red card. Like it just happened out of nowhere, and I feel like honestly, as unfortunate as it is for me to say, like I feel like them going down to 10 gave the Union the boost that they needed to be able to get ahead on the aggregate and not have to worry about potentially conceding again.
Honestly, we shouldn't even been in a situation. We had the away advantage, right?
Yep.
We shouldn't have been in a situation where they could come back. We had a goal and we were a goal ahead with the advantage. So it's not even something that we should have been worried about, but we were. That's so Philadelphia of them. They didn't need
Yeah.
to. I thought they were different, but I guess they're not.
Yeah, it's just really rough, being 0-3-1, not being able to win on the road, and having to go in against a fairly decent Chicago Fire side on Saturday night. It's gonna be a very tough match, especially because the tail end of your last meeting with Chicago, things started to get really heated,
Yeah.
and it resulted in Chicago losing a man, and you still kind of struggled against 10 with Chicago. So I mean, it's you really hope that they're able to figure out whatever it is that's been ailing them on the road, and also just overall with their scoring capability. But honestly, at this point, if you can pull a draw on the road, I'll be happy, because
Yeah, I mean,
the way they're playing is not very inspiring right now. And if you can just pull points when you can.
you know me. You've heard me say this before. I don't play for tie. I want to play for the 3 points always, but
Always.
I'm not gonna be that man if we leave with one. Right now, I think we need as many points as we can. Of course, three would be awesome. And looking at the Chicago Fire, yes, they are what they are. We can beat them though.
We
And
definitely
that's the
can.
most frustrating part because I know we can beat these teams. Like we can easily beat Kansas City. I believe we can beat Cincy. They're
Yeah,
on top of the league, and they struggle to score one. Like we can beat these teams. We're just not doing it.
yeah. It, like I said, it's very
It's frustrating as
uninspiring play
hell.
right now. It's very uninspiring, and I was actually saying earlier before you came in, um, you, knowing how well this team can play, you sort of look at the way that they're able to play in the cup play outside of it, because Will Yeager had asked a question earlier, asking what was more important, the MLS season or these tournaments. And I was saying, with the workload that we have this year, um, mistakes tend to happen. There's always going to be some bad play, but you look around at the rest of the world with having to play these consistently. You're bound to have a bad game. Like if you look at the match today, Manchester United played Sevilla in Euro play. We're
Mhm.
up 2-0, commanding lead. Just absolutely had Sevilla right where they wanted them, and in the last 15 minutes conceded 2 own goals to draw against Sevilla, which gave them no advantage whatsoever. Definitely left Ten Hag just feeling like, I don't know what these guys were just doing, but now you have to, go out to Sevilla in the second leg of this and try and at least score one and keep them from doing anything, and don't, shoot yourself in the foot again. So I mean, like, there's a lot of questions that still have to be answered with this team. And I feel like as every single game goes by, the questions just pile up more and more. There's too
The
many
pro-
it's going to get to a point where too many questions have to be answered, and there's not going to be enough answers for any of them if the play
the
doesn't
problem
fix.
with all these games is that, like, I understand what Will was saying. There's no, I don't think one is more important than the other. To win the Champions League just means that you're the best in the CONCACAF in Central America, right? Which is a huge, huge honor.
Oh yeah.
In Europe, to me, the Champions League is a better trophy than your League Cup. To me,
Yeah. Yeah,
because that
I
means that you're
100%
going
agree.
against the best of every country in Europe,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like I feel bad. Like I mean, I get mad that Chelsea hasn't won the Premier League, right? In a couple, but we just won the Champions League, so
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been the best in Europe for for a while. We're struggling right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like I don't think one
Yeah.
is more like it's necessarily more important than the other here. Um, I think that it's getting a little more traction. You understand? Like people are trying to hear what the like. Some people didn't know that there was a Champions League in the CONCACAF.
Yeah,
They
plenty of
didn't
people
know.
had no clue. Yeah.
No idea what was going on. But you also have to realize that you have to play these games a little bit differently, which is why you see different lineups, right? Not only rest, all these teams from different countries, they play differently. It's a different style of game. Maybe he's more passing. Maybe he's more aggressive. Maybe it's a little slower, and you have to slow it down a little bit. You just have to see who you're playing. Um, it's like Spain, for example, right? You go against Barcelona, they're passing the ball all. They'll make you dizzy with how many times they pass the ball. Tiki
Oh
taka,
yeah.
pop, 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 pop,
Yep.
and they'll score on you without you even knowing they'll score on you, right?
Yeah.
But then you have teams like, let's say, Bayern Munich, where they just literally come out and bulldoze you.
Yep.
Like, I'm Bayern Munich, I'm gonna kill you. That's the difference between Germany and Spanish soccer. You have to
Yeah.
play them differently. You can't play them the same. I
Exactly.
always say the Premier League is a good mixture of all of it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
Italian soccer is almost kind of the same thing. It's a little more aggressive than Spain, but you're still doing a lot of footwork. Um,
Yeah.
but different doesn't necessarily mean better or worse. It just means that you have to play it a certain way,
Yeah.
which is why I can't really judge. I can't judge the Union on what they did on Saturday by what they played on Tuesday, if that makes any sense,
Yeah. I
or
know exactly what
Wednesday,
you mean.
because it's a different game. It's a different tourney.
Yeah.
Different
Totally
lineup,
different
everything.
approach tactically.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and it should be. I'm not saying. I mean, it should be like that. But it's tough. It's tough to grade. That's what we have to. When we grade, we have to grade how they're doing in regular season, and then we have to grade how they're doing in the competition. Right? In the
Yep.
competition, they're doing really well. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're scoring. We're doing great. We're not doing so well in the MLS right now.
Yeah. Not at all.
Why? Maybe we're putting more focus on the Champions League. Maybe teams figured out Curtin's system and they're just playing it. Maybe we lost that one guy that we needed to make it easier. I hate to say that we lost because it's so early, but it seems like we did. Daniel Gazdag is just not the same person he was when
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah. He's really not.
and,
I feel
and
like
he was a
there's something
huge
going on
reason.
there.
Yeah, and he was a huge reason of our success overall. So when we lose somebody like that, it's like it's like losing Joel Embiid,
Yeah.
except that we don't have a Harden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And having you say it like that, definitely. Like the second you were like, "But we don't have a Harden," I literally was like, "Oh my God, we don't."
Yeah,
Oh
we don't. We
jeez.
don't have a
Like
Harden.
it's one of those things. Like it just dawns on you as like that comparison's being made. Like it's really tough. It's almost honestly like another comparison to make is like with the Phillies. You know, we lost Reese Hoskins. We
Hmm.
had a guy that we were like, okay, he'll be able to pick up some slack in Derek Hall, and now he's hurt. And now we don't have that guy to pick up the slack, but now we're hearing rumor that possibly a way for him to come back sooner is Harper was like, yo, if y'all want me to come back sooner and play first base, I'll play first base. I'm like, yo,
Listen,
let's do it. Harper at first? Okay.
see, okay, not to change the subject to baseball, but I'm a little iffy about that. I need you to come back when you're 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
We invested a lot of money in this cat. I don't need him to be injured every year.
Yeah. Especially when you
Come
think
back
they're
when you're ready, bro.
yeah, especially when you think they're actually, you know, I feel like people downplay the first baseman position a lot, being a first baseman naturally. Like you-
They were talking about
there
putting
is
him at first
there is
base.
so much throwing that happens at first base that you don't
Yeah,
think of. Like ground ball to first base, you have to throw home. You have to put that thing on a frozen rope. Like
yeah.
the only way you can do that is if you're not recovering from Tommy John surgery. So like I mean like it's I don't know because like the comparison that you made, it's very true. Like we have that we have the guy, but we don't have the guy behind the guy.
Right.
And
But we don't even have
I
the
feel
guy
like
right now.
Carranza and Ua are trying to be that, but they
That's
both
not
work
them
in a
though.
very particular way in a vacuum, and neither of them can step up and be that top dude while our top dude isn't doing what he's supposed to do.
First of all, Ua should just get on the treadmill and just cardio all day long. I need you to play 90, my guy.
Yeah.
Carranza,
Well, we got 90
Carranza,
from him. We got 90 from him last night.
did you see how gassed he was?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you see how gassed he was?
This was a point that I was trying to make before the season started. I wanted to start seeing full 90s from Mikhail Ua.
Dude, the dude's in his 20s.
Yeah.
Don't give me that.
Yeah.
And then
I
you have
need.
Carranza, which again last year he had a very very good year, but he was also like very easy to score because Gasta commanded so much attention. He's not doing that much this year, and he's still not the best with his back to the goal,
I mean,
right?
He's improving, but he's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
still not
absolutely,
great.
absolutely. But he's still not the best,
He
and
actually
there's
he had a
people
couple of
still.
really good touches last night with his back to the goal. A couple of really good moves that he made. So
He's getting better,
you can see the improvement
absolutely.
is being made for sure.
And I'm happy with that. I just I he's not where I want him to be just yet. I'm glad he's improving. He's just not where I want him to be. And other than that, I mean, McGlynn is like 20 years old, so he's not it, right? If he plays well, I welcome it. I'm all for it. But we can't put this kind of pressure on a young cat like that. You just can't.
Yeah, you really can't.
Bedoya can't do anything because he's old, right? He's just there literally for moral support. He should be on the bench, to be honest with you.
I mean,
Um,
he did a good job keeping a few guys in check throughout the
dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop.
in the first half and early in the second half, he was still keeping decent pace, but you could tell that he was starting to lose it from like the 55th on. Like he definitely doesn't have the tank to be able to get a full
Bedoya
90 anymore
should
for sure.
be Bedoya should be coming on at like that 75th minute. That's
Yeah,
when he should be coming on,
yeah, I 100% agree.
right? And it depends on where we are in the game.
Yeah, and it's him coming in is definitely should be definitely situationally based.
Yes, 100%. Like he's just he's our veteran, but he's not the guy. We needed guys like to be that guy, which is the reason one of the main reasons we gave him the 10. And I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, and like a lot of people don't understand what that actually means. I wrote an article on it actually the other week. That it's not a power that significance of the number 10, like it weighs a lot, and I think that I really do think that's the reason this is happening. I think that the number is too heavy for Daniel Gastag, and he needs to figure it out.
Yeah, 100% agree. I feel like it's definitely a lot more pressure than I feel like he needs to have because not having the 10 on him last year, I felt like he was able to play more, I
Dude,
guess
he
you'd say
was
more
everywhere.
carefree and
Yeah,
be
he
able to
was
just really do what
everywhere.
he wanted to do, and he was all over the place. But now that he's in the 10, you can see that he's definitely restricting himself a lot more. I mean, would I love to see that man improve at the 10 as a 10, wearing the
Well, that's
10?
what we're waiting for,
Absolutely.
and Will here saying take the 10 off him. I'm not there just yet. I really do. Maybe it's just that's just the fan in me. I really do feel like he can figure it out and at least get better, right?
Yeah.
To the point where we're actually winning games because of Daniel Gastag, not the other way around, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not in the take it away from him just yet. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think that they're going to take it away from him anyway.
No, I don't think
But
so either.
he definitely needs to figure it out because this isn't working, and it's not going to work. Unfortunately, a lot of our play comes from him, from his position. So
Yeah.
if that's not working, we're not going to work. Ua
Exactly.
can't eat. Carranza can't eat.
I mean,
And the
maybe.
only way that McGlynn is getting you to the goal is by throwing you those dimes that really they can't control because they're not used to them.
Yeah.
Like if you think they can't control it. There's been a couple goals this year that should have been in, and it was a beautiful dime from McGlynn, but Carranza couldn't control it. Ua couldn't control it.
Yeah, and one of the ones that we saw that was an incredible pass that just wound up not going on the final touch was that set up by McGlynn at the end of the first half against Atlas. It was perfectly placed ball. Just Ua just did not get it the way he wanted to. The finish was not there. And like you said, and it was one of the things that when I was at the Sporting Kansas City match, there was a post game availability with Michaela Ua, and one of the questions that was asked of him was, "Do you feel like it's only a matter of time before you start to get the finish and the net starts to become bigger. And he himself said, it's one of those things, it's just how the season's been going so far. You hope to be able to, finally find a way to get the floodgates open. And I feel like they're trying really hard to crank that handle to open the floodgate, but something is holding that chain down.
Yeah, that's correct. That's a good analogy. You're absolutely right. There's something there. We're not any different that um, than we were last year in terms of actual core team. We're the
Yeah.
same team.
Hmm.
We're just not playing the same way. That's all. And we have Pat here saying, "Who should we look out for on the fire?" Go ahead, Austin. Take it away.
Casper Shabilko.
In the
That
air,
that
in the
man.
air. I tell you, in the air, he doesn't really scare me just because we have the Wonder Twins in the middle there.
Exactly.
So he doesn't really scare me in the air that much. In terms of speed, we can definitely keep up with him because Glesnes. I'll tell you right now, if I could give somebody a star for the season, would be Glesnes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's
He would.
been he's been amazing, like so solid this whole year.
Yeah,
And even when we
and
were playing like crap, if it wasn't from him for him, we would have lost way worse
oh
than we
yeah,
have.
yeah, and Curtin's made it a point after the Kansas City game and the I believe it was Orlando City the week before that. He made it a point in his post game press conferences after both to say, Glesnes has been our best player, but it's kind of hard to be able to facilitate offensively when your best player on offense is a center back.
Right.
So I
And
mean,
that's
it's like it's
100%
like a
correct.
hockey team where your best player in terms of offensive capability is like an Eric Carlson. Like that's not going to help you win games when a defenseman is
Right.
your best offensive player. So I mean, all the credit in the world to Jake. He's been absolutely incredible. His play has not wavered from
Not
last
even a
year to
little bit.
this year. And
Neither has
honestly,
Elliott really.
yeah, for the most part, Elliott hasn't really wavered either. So I mean, like the two of them are really are anchors for this team.
Oh,
So I mean,
absolutely.
if you were to if those two were to just be negated completely from an 11, this team would be an absolute disaster right now.
Oh, absolutely. We will lose way worse games if it wasn't
Oh
for
yeah,
them too. And
yeah,
and I'm okay with them being the best players out there. Just not, we not our offense. Like we need
exactly.
something else.
Yeah,
I'm good with defense being a big part of the game. I'm good with having a good defense and it being what you're known for. I'm good with that. We don't need a super offense to win the championship. I mean, Italy showed you that in 2006,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Yes, they had very good players up front, but nothing. That defense was absolutely insane,
Really
and it
was.
has been. It always is. The Italians like pride themselves on defense a lot. That
They
that's
really
the
do.
way. That's the way they play, right? So I don't mind that part of it as long as you somebody else can give me the goal scoring. Like I don't. I understand that they do it jokingly. Like I understand that it's something that we do as a fandom. I love it. Every time the Glasses touches the ball, everybody in the stadium just goes shoot. Right? I love it. But it's starting to get to a point where like, okay, no, but we really need you to shoot now. That's not
Yeah,
okay
yeah. It's really
because
not.
he's already doing this job and he's doing it remarkably well. uh, I might
Just
add, right?
just
And
just
then you're
hanging
asking him
hanging
to do
extra
something
pressure on
else,
those. Yeah,
right?
having to hang extra pressure on those tall shoulders is not nice.
Right. And you really don't want him to go away from what he's actually doing. You want him to
Yeah.
do his job, and he's doing it very well. Everybody needs to step up, and everybody from the back line up needs to step up. Wagner's hurt. Um, Baizo,
Bizo's hurt.
he's been pretty solid, but he's hurt. Right. Everybody needs to step up. Whoever's coming in to fill in for them, they need to step up. Definitely everybody up front, the attacking third and the mid. We don't really have an attacking third. I mean, I guess Gostek will be part of that, but everybody needs to step up because if we keep doing this, if our best offensive player is our defensive back, we're not really going to do much.
Yeah, and honestly, really hope that Wagner and Bizo have some really good workman's comp. If not, they can get in touch with our man David R. Cherry Esquire at the Cherry Firm. If you have any questions about workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and or criminal law, get in touch with David R. Cherry Esquire at 610-565-0300 or visit cherryinjurylaw.com.
I gotta say, you're getting really good at these.
Dude, segues are my thing now. Segues in writing, apparently, in the last 6 months, I've become really good at.
Really good. And if you're ever around Delco, you gotta go visit Dolan's Bar, especially if you like sports, because they're gonna have them playing most likely. They usually quizzo, music, great times. They have food, crazy. Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park, PA. It's a great time. They've been there forever. Philadelphia memorabilia everywhere. It's a great time to watch games.
And if you enjoy going to Dolan's Bar to catch games, but you want to be able to get out to a game yourself, I plan on getting out to a few myself. There's a few concerts that are coming up soon that I want to be able to go to. I don't know. I may even try and take the wife out to a theater show every once in a while. Who knows?
Oh, the theater!
Oh, go see Hamilton. But if any of those things tickle your fancy like it does to this guy right here, sorry, you can't see me pointing at myself because I have the app in front of it. But make sure you check out our friends over at Sherry's Ticket Town at sherrystickets.com. Been family owned and operated since 1946, making sure that every ticket that you get, there's no hidden fees. The price that you see on the listing on their page is the exact price that you're going to pay. And to just save a little extra money to, maybe pay for parking or anything like that, use the promo code EOP10 at checkout, get 10% off. Let them know that we sent you. Go to sherrystickets.com.
And of course, if you want to make it out yourself to an away game, now a lot of these things, of course, as you can see, are sold out because it's such a good time. The Philly sports
Oh,
trips,
the London one's sold out. Holy crap!
Yeah, are you surprised?
that happened fast.
You gotta understand, if you are looking to go somewhere else to watch the games, you gotta hit up Philly sports trips, man. There's a reason why these are sold out. There's a reason why everybody tries to get in sports trips. Not only is it affordable, it's a great time with Philadelphia fans. They'll hook you up. That London trip that's sold out, they have the whole itinerary ready for you. You just gotta show up, have a couple drinks, have a good time. Philly sports trips, phillysportstrips.com. Anytime that you want to go to an away game, you got to check them out. Make sure that they're getting ready to get to the away game that you want to go to, and go ahead and go. With all Philadelphia fans, a great time.
Philly Sports Trips is proper football, and also proper football.
You travel like the pros, man.
Travel like the pros, and better yet, talk with some of the coolest people around when it comes to Philly sports. Make sure you're checking out and chiming in on every single show here on the EOP Sports Network. You got us here on Thursday nights. You got Chalk talking to Kelly Green Hour on Fridays, the Patterson Avenue Fanatics on Saturday. I'm actually going to pop this little graphic up here in a second because our boy Pat, who does a lot of the back end stuff here for the show on the attack part of P&M in the AM, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. I'm going to pop this graphic up really quick. They're going to have Connor Thomas from 97.5 The Fanatic on this Sunday,
man. Go. So if you don't want to see
a really good show on Sunday for them, and
so if you don't want to see Pat's ugly mug, you can see Connor Thomas.
Hey, more than anything, Mike's what makes it better.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out to everybody on the Edge of Philly Sports Network, man. Being able to interact with all these guys is always a really fun time.
Oh, it's awesome.
And
all these guys.
More than anything, Gus, being able to interact with you, my man. That has been tonight has been a great night. We Union are moving on in CONCACAF to face LAFC, a familiar foe. But this has been an amazing.
Next time I come mid-show, I'm expecting like an entrance music or something.
Oh, dude, I'm just gonna find a glass and just shatter it on my desk so you can get the Stone Cold effect, dude.
Yeah. Yes.
But then the problem is you're gonna come in. I'm gonna have to leave so that I can clean up the glass.
Oh, it's Gus.
Oh, it's Gus.
Always a great time with you, man. I'm looking forward to this game on Saturday. Um, I really do think we can win.
Definitely.
Chicago's coming in. Is coming in right, but we're so close. It's really just tweaking here and there. We're so close. If we could just figure out some way somewhere to get the ball in the net, man. Like that's really all it is, and we can be in all these games, and we can compete. What's a little just before we go, it's a little extra frustrating for me because my dad right just got here from Peru,
Okay.
and he misses his teams because we can't get all the games on there, right? So I really can't watch Peruvian soccer that much. We get like Libertadores and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So I get him to watch the Union.
Yeah, he's been. Oh.
I'm like,
'Cause
this how they play?
I remember you saying the first match that he watched, he
Yeah,
was like, this is
yeah,
Philadelphia.
and then ever since he's watched every match with me, and it's been like, I thought you said we're gonna get better. I'm like, I know. So please, Union, if
It's
you're
American
listening to
sports
this, for my dad, play better,
for Big Gus.
play better.
Play better. And all y'all out there, I didn't say it last week. I'm going to say it. First off, do you want to give a prediction really quick, Gus?
Well, I think we win 2-1.
I'm actually right there with you. I didn't say it last week, but I'll say it this week. It's the new thing that I'm trying to do to end the show. You know the chant, Gus. We love you. We love you. We love you. See y'all next week.